Joining me now is former Speaker of the House, now Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi. Thank you so much for being here, Speaker Pelosi. It is wonderful to have you anytime, but especially in a moment like this when we're trying to make sense of what exactly is going on with your colleagues across the aisle. I wonder what you think of this impeachment push and whether the GOP is trying to render the concept of impeachment effectively meaningless.
Well, thank you. It's nice to be with you, Alex, especially at this difficult time for our country when we have so many needs that we have to meet, so many challenges to democracy in Ukraine and in our own country, and that the Speaker is going down this path. He says he has no choice. The fact is he has no respect. No respect for the Constitution of the United States, no respect for his own members, whom he's asking to vote for an impeachment with no basis. You referenced when we impeached the president a number of years ago because of his refusal to send the aid to Ukraine that was voted by Congress and he was supposed to send, but was threatened to withhold it unless he got certain favors done for him by President Zelensky. But he said to me, what's the problem with the call? It was a perfect call. Yes, it was perfectly impeachable. And so they have no basis. And so their excuse for having no basis is they have no basis. And yet they're saying to these people, nearly 20 of them, maybe 18 of them are in districts that President Biden won. So it's going to be a hard sell for them to go home and say why they went down this careless path.
Yeah,
but it's most unfortunate. And I want to say one more thing. You ran all the statements that he made about you shouldn't have a one-party impeachment. Well, our founders knew that we could possibly have a rogue president, but they didn't think we'd have a rogue Congress at the same time. And in addition to that, Steny Hoyer mentioned this on the floor this evening in our special order on Ukraine. This Speaker, a few Congresses ago, introduced a bill that said you can't have more than one subject in a bill, and yet he's putting immigration on the Ukraine bill.
I just want to follow up on something you mentioned, which is the cliff that it appears Speaker Johnson is leading his Biden district Republicans over on this impeachment inquiry vote. I mean, Kevin McCarthy, when he was Speaker, if you can remember, it happened very quickly. It was over before it began in many ways. But in his speakership, he at least understood the political reality that it would not be good for those, quote unquote, centrist Republicans to vote on a Biden impeachment. Speaker Johnson does not seem to understand the political reality of that. What fortune awaits those Republicans who vote yes?
Well, they've made a decision to go all out with Donald Trump. Donald Trump has instigated this, encouraged it further, and now they're all just going down the Donald Trump path. And that's not a good path in some of these districts. We fully intend to win the House in this next election. But in the meantime, we have plenty of work to do. Instead of this impeachment, well, what do they have to offer? I don't like to even call him President Trump in the same sense, but the former occupant occasionally of the White House would say, we've got to overturn the Affordable Care Act. Others will say we have to pass a total ban on abortion in our country. These are the kinds of things they have in store for women and families. These are the kind of kitchen table issues that they have in store should they win, which they must not. But in the meantime, to keep people distracted and to look effective to their base, this is red meat to their base, look effective to their base, let's impeach the president for no basis, no respect for the Constitution, no respect for the office of president, and certainly no respect for the House of Representatives and their own members.
Yeah, I want to focus on that last bit, the lack of respect for the actual office that these Republicans hold. This Congress is on track to be I think it's the second least productive Congress in modern American history. And, you know, a lot of excuses are made for that on the right, which is, oh, it's a slim majority, et cetera, et cetera. You were Speaker of the House with a very slim majority and managed to get many things done. What would your advice to the current Speaker of the House be if he wanted to get anything done?
Well, in addition to what some of those Republicans have said about their slim majority, some of them have been bragging that they've sent all these bills over to the Senate. They're ridiculous bills that are never going to see the light of day. But some of them said, we've done a lot of things. One of the staff persons said, well, we sent a letter, and then we got the mask mandate removed. And we sent a letter about this or that, and now we're going to have a hearing on it. Their standard for accomplishment is very low, but they're anti-governance. And if you remember that they're anti-governance, this is a good thing for them because they're accomplishing nothing.
I do wonder
nothing good.
Yeah, and you mentioned some of the priorities for these Republican lawmakers. In a vacuum, the most egregious things really stand out. Among them, their war on reproductive freedom and the most recent comments from their titular head, their informal head, their frontrunner, Donald Trump, who wants to replace Obamacare.
Yes, imagine that.
Yeah. Imagine
that. When he was president, he said repeal and replace. He had no replacement. He just wanted to repeal, and he was defeated. And he was defeated not by just our inside maneuvering, but by the outside mobilization, the grassroots people, the people who benefit, the millions of people who benefited from the Affordable Care Act. It wasn't about them talking about provisions. It was them talking about their personal experience. And that's what we intend to do. We've already launched the same campaign we did then. Will come full bloom around Martin Luther King weekend to, again, have the outside mobilization to protect the Affordable Care Act, which has brought care to millions, nearly 20 million more people in our country, and, again, benefits, including well, the most important one that affects so many people is a pre-existing condition. The benefit of saying if you have a pre-existing condition, no longer can you be deprived of care. If you have, and we have no more time limits, whether it's annual or lifetime time limits. The list goes on about the benefits that would be overturned as well. These are kitchen table issues, as are the issue that you referenced earlier about a woman's right to choose. The kitchen table issue, it's an economic issue, all of it for families, about their health and their financial well-being, about their freedom. We fight for democracy here in our country. We felt the Ukrainians are fighting for it there. We are fighting for freedom here, whether it's freedom for LGBT community, whatever the freedom is that people want to read a book, freedom to even read a book, for your child to read books in school that had been classics and are now burned.
Something tells me that former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi is ready to talk book bans, women's bodies, and health care as much as Republicans will let her. Speaker Nancy Pelosi, it is an honor and a thrill to have you on the program. Thanks for making some time tonight. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. But remember, the longer they take for Ukraine, more people will die, more women will be raped, more children will be kidnapped, and it'll be all on them. We have to get them to move. Thank you for giving some more exposure to this issue tonight. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you for all you do. I appreciate it.
Thank you.